everyone, it's Debbie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If you are new here, I am a reseller. I've been reselling for 17 years. I sell mainly on eBay and Poshmark, and today I have a what sold video for you. I'm going to share 15 items that sold the week of September 5th through 11th, 2021. And I sold a total of 22 items for a gross amount of $688.55. And this number is lower than it's been the last few weeks, but I was gone 4 days out of the 7 last week, so I am still very pleased with that, and hopefully next week will be even better. We will start on Poshmark. I sold 17 items on Poshmark for a gross amount of $362. The first item was a pair of Merrill boots, and this is a great brand. They also had a Vibram sole, which is a really good thing to look for. These were the Moab 2, which stood for the mother of all boots. They were waterproof hiking boots, and they were size 14, and they did not get a lot of activity on them. They just had 2 likes, but they still sold right away. They sold for $39. My earnings were $28.74. I paid just $2.50 at the Goodwill bins, and they took 1.5 months to sell. My profit was $26.24.
Here are a few more hiking boots to be on the lookout for. I sorted by just in so that we would be able to see items that sold really quickly. And I also sorted by $50 or more to see what sells fast for a good amount. And I like to look at the brands. I saw a lot of Keen. I saw Timberland, Merrill, Sorel. I saw a pair of Ultra, and those are a good running shoe to look out for. Also, Danner, and there were some new brands that I had never heard of before that I will know now if I see them when I'm out sourcing.
The next one was a Liz Claiborne vintage blazer, and it was red, and it was a cashmere and wool blend with a faux fur collar, and it was just really pretty. It sold for $39. My earnings were $31.20. I paid $7.80 at a regular Goodwill store 6 months ago, so it took a little while to sell, but completely worth it to wait 6 months. And my profit was $23.40. And on that, the person sent a message to me and asked for the pit-to-pit measurement. I already had that in the photos in the listing, so I could have just ignored it and thought, well, she didn't look at it, they're in there. But instead, I just responded and gave her the measurements and said, please let me know if you have any other questions, and she bought it right away. So always answer questions as quickly as you can because they normally turn into sales. The next one was from a ThredUp Rescue shoebox. It was my first ThredUp Rescue shoebox, and this was a brand that I had not heard of before, but I now know to be on the lookout for it. It was Piccolinos, and these were really nice shoes, and on the listing, I wanted to be sure and show them really well, so I used the video feature where I could show the 360 view of the shoes, and these sold for $40. My earnings were $32. I paid just $6.32, and they took 2 months and 7 days to sell. My profit was $25.68, and I think that is excellent to be able to source from home. I never had to leave my house for these, ship them, USPS, pick them up for me, so I think that is terrific. The next one was a pair of London Fog duck shoes. Flats, they were waterproof, size 7, and these sold for $22. My earnings were $17.60. I paid just $5.80 at a regular Goodwill. They took 4 months and 14 days to sell, and my profit was $11.80. And London Fog is a brand that I always look out for. Usually everything sells well. I really like the trench coats, especially when they have the zip out liners. Those can sell for a lot of money. Then the next one was an H&M jacket. It was double-breasted, a pea coat, and it was just really nice. Sometimes I don't pick up H&M. I actually, when I looked at the tag, I thought it said J. Jill, and then in the middle of a haul, I realized that's not J. Jill, that's H&M, but it's still really nice, and I thought it would sell, and it did for $19. My earnings were $15.20. I paid just $1.40 at the Goodwill bins. It took just under 1 month to sell, and my profit was $13.80. $2.80. And on this, I could not find the material tag anywhere. It had been cut out. So what I did was I found someone else's listing of the exact same coat that had the material content. I took the information from that, put it in my listing, and just said in the listing, the material tag has been cut out, but I got this information from another listing, and this is what it is, because people often want to know the material content. The next one was a bundle of 2, and this was the cutest little Nautica jacket, size 24 months, and a pair of Ralph Lauren cords, also 24 months. I got these both at the bins, and I knew they wouldn't be a really high seller, but they don't take a lot of research for me. They don't take very long to list. They're so quick and easy, and they don't take a lot of room to store. So sometimes I pick up things like this, even though they're not huge sellers, but the bundle sold for $20. My earnings were $13.54. I paid just 90 cents at the Goodwill bins, and my profit was $12.64. The Nautica jacket took just 2 weeks to sell, and the Ralph Lauren cords took about 6 months to sell.
I tried a new strategy and it's working really well. I had a few items that I had just marked down to like $10 and they weren't selling. And if they did sell, it wouldn't really be worth it. So I marked them back up to around $12 or $14. And on the title line, I put 4 for $20. Well, in just 5 days, 4 of those items have already sold that were getting no activity at all. 3 of them sold in a bundle, and I went ahead and sold it for $15. I gave them the same $5 per item price. I was so happy to see those 3 pieces move. And then the 4th one was these little Ralph Lauren cords. They added them to a bundle with the Nautica jacket, so I gave them to them at that great price. So that is a good way to move stale inventory that is not worth a lot, but it's worth it to ship it when you can add it to a bundle.
The next one was an item of mine. This was a Michael Kors sleeveless top. It was really cute, but it was just a little bit big on me and it didn't look right. So I wore it once and then decided to list it, and it sold for $17. My earnings were $13.60. I bought it about a year ago. It was at a discount store. It was either like Ross or Marshall's or Nordstrom Rack or somewhere like that. And I don't remember how much it was because I just bought it for myself. So I call this just pure profit because I bought it with the intent of keeping it myself. So my profit is $13.60. Then the next one was a great swimsuit brand. I'm still having swimsuits sell, and I had 3 sell this past week, so it's not really the season for it, but I have a lot of them out there, and so they just trickle out all through the year. This was Profile by Gotex, I think that's how you say it, but these all sell for a pretty good amount. It sold for $26. My earnings were $20.80. I paid just 66 cents. I listed this over a year ago, and then I went ahead and relisted it to try to make it a fresh listing. And after I did that, it took less than a month to sell. My profit was $20.14. Then I had a few Free People items sell this week. Not many at all, a lot less Free People liquidation items than normal because I did not share very much at all this week. I only sold 3 liquidation items, which is really low for me. So I know Poshmark is so dependent on sharing, and I have most of my Free People items on Poshmark. So since I didn't share, I didn't really make those sales that much.
I thought I would jump in here and explain that a little bit further. This week, when I didn't share much at all, I really saw sales of items that were more unique and thrifted items and not as many of my Free People items. I do sell a lot of Free People, but there is also a lot of it out there. So on Poshmark, it is extremely dependent on sharing and having those listings come up high in the rank results. If I don't share those items, I do not make those sales. But some of the more unique items that were thrifted still sell, even though I wasn't sharing as often because there are not as many out there to compete with.
This one was one that I don't think I've shared before. This is the Free People Mari Bralette, and it is in size small. It sold for $17. My earnings were $11.14. I paid just $4.84, and my profit was $6.30, which is not much, but I've talked so many times about multiple quantities. If I have like 20 of these, and it is super quick to list all of them, and I just have to put the quantity of 20, and then every time one sells, $6 here, $6 there. then that is a really good way to make a lot of money per hour. So I love doing the liquidation items. The next one was a Michael Stars jumpsuit. This Theo jumpsuit had a drawstring waist, just very casual and comfy. I really liked this. It was brand new with tags. It sold for $40. My earnings were $32. I paid $12.21, and my profit was $19.79. It took just 23 days to sell. I had sourced this a while ago, and I have a bin of items that I got from discount stores. So it would have either been Ross, TJ Maxx, Nordstrom Rack, one of those. And I just came across it the other day, and it was before I started doing YouTube video, and so I didn't pay attention to the exact store that it was, but now I do. Now that I'm sharing all that information, I would just put discount store. So I just now listed it. I'm starting to list some of those things, and after listing it, it only took 23 days to sell. Then we will move on to eBay. On eBay, I had just 5 items sell for $326.55, and guess what? The Bob stroller sold really fast. It took just 4 days to sell. It sold for a gross amount of $243.62. Someone sent me an offer for $150 plus shipping, and I thought, I paid $4.99 for this. I think I will take it. I ended up getting back $124.05. I paid just $4.99 at the Goodwill bins, and it took 4 days to sell. My profit was $119.06. So I'm so excited that I got to share the video with you from when I sourced it, what I found, and then I will let you know. Got a stroller. This is a Revolution Bob, but I looked up comps and some of them are really high, so I am super excited about that. To how I packaged it. Take off one, and I was able to get it in a pretty good size box. I will use a little bit of extra cardboard just to support, and now I sold it. And you know, when you watch that video, it takes a little work to package it, so you have to make sure that you're going to make enough money to make it worth that time and effort to do all of that packaging. But when it sold, I already had it all ready to go, so I didn't have to stress about finding a box or anything. I put a lot of tape around it, printed my shipping label, and it was easy. So I was so happy that that sold. Then
if you go into your sold listing and click on See Transaction Details, it will then take you to your transaction breakdown. If you then select See Fee Details, you can see your percentage of fees and how much you actually paid in fees. Now, you have to remember on an item that has high shipping and it's expensive, so there's a lot of tax, those fees are based upon the total amount. You are paying that 11.7% fee on the shipping and the tax even. So you really want to consider that when you are pricing your item and when you are considering offers. So I might have sold it for $150, but my fees are going to be based upon the total amount. So the fees were $25.95. If I divide that by the sell price of $150, my fees are actually 17.3% of the $150. So it's still not as high as the 20% Poshmark fees, but it is not as low as you would think. If you look at the fees, 11.7%, it is going to be higher than that because you're not paying it just on the sell price of the item. It is also on the tax and the shipping.
Then the next one is a little plush. It was a Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World Critter Collars plush Howling Coyote, and it sold for $17.98. My earnings were $10.40. I paid 9 cents at the Goodwill bins, 4 months and 6 days to sell, and my profit was $10.31. Then the next one was a pair of Levi's 501 original straight leg button fly shrink to fit jeans, and they were size 58 by 32, but they measured 54 by 31, so I was sure to put that in the listing. They sold for $38.30. My earnings were $24.85. I paid just $3.26 retail arbitrage as this was a store return that I ended up getting at a really good deal, because you always tell people what you do. I talk to the salespeople and they know what I do, and I give them my phone number, and they often call me and tell me, we have this on sale, would you like it? Or sometimes they'll have returns that they can't sell, but they can sell them to me for really cheap. So tell the salespeople what you do and give them your phone number. It can really pay off. Then the next one, I sold an audiobook. And if you haven't watched my video about where to source items, book sales are an excellent place to source items. This was a Playaway audiobook. It was Z, a novel of Zelda Fitzgerald, and it sold for $9.32. My earnings were $4. I paid just 20 cents. I bought this at the February 2019 book sale though, so it was 2.5 years. I ended all those listings. I relisted it about a month ago and it sold, and my profit was $3.80. So not a lot, but those are so fast to list. I timed to myself and I list those on an average of 16 an hour, so super quick. So now to go over my numbers, I sold a total of 22 items for $688.55. The money back in the bank was $446.16. My cost of goods was so low, only $66.60. And my profit was $379.56. So my profit was 55.12% of my gross sales. And this is directly related to where I sourced my items at. So I've been sharing that every week. Of the 22 items that I sold, 14 of them were thrifted, and this means it came from either the Goodwill bins, regular Goodwill stores, thrift stores. I consider the ThredUp thrifted because they're used, and the book sale also because those are used. So 14 of my items were thrifted, the majority. So that's why my cost of goods was so low. Retail arbitrage, 5 items, so that would be mall when I shop the clearance racks, discount stores, which I buy from Ross, TJ Maxx, Nordstrom Rack, so 5 there. And then liquidation, only 3 items. Since most of my items were thrifted, my cost of goods is really low, making my profit a higher percentage of my gross sales. Poshmark, 17 items for $362. Cost of goods there was only $57.40, and my profit was $214.98. On eBay, 5 items for $326.55. After fees, I ended up back with $173.78. Cost of goods only $9.20, and my profit was $164.58. And I didn't have any sales on Mercari. I didn't have any refunds. So, it's not as much as it had been the last few weeks, but I'm still very grateful for every sale. And I am so glad that I am able to do this job, work from home. The flexibility that I have is excellent. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day and that all of your sales are going really well too. Thank you, bye.